Okay. So we will start today on Daf Daladim base. Omar Reb Shmuel Bar Nachmani. Shmuel Bar Nachmani said, "My Dichsiv," it says in the pasuk, "Ayeles ahovim v'yalas chen." It's an antelope. So an antelope is a yal, and it's a chen. It has a chen. Ahovim, it's beloved. So Loma. So we compare it. The Torah is compared in that pasuk to an ayol, to an antelope. Loma nimshul divrei Torah layeles. Why the words of Torah compared to ayeles? Loimalach, to tell you, ma ayeles rachmatzor lechaviva alboyala kosha v'sha kishar rishena. Just like the ayeles, the antelope, has a narrow womb, and therefore its mate it's beloved to its mate because it has a narrow womb. It's beloved to its mate as if the first time throughout its life. Af divrei Torah, similar divrei Torah, chavivin alumdeim kol shah v'shah kishah rishona. So every hour, those who learn Torah, the Torah is beloved by them as if the first time just like the first time when they learn Torah. I think this is connected to the point which is going to be made later, and also which was made a bit earlier, that when a person learns Torah, every time you go into the Torah, even you learning over again and again, you're doing chazara, you're chazering over the same Torah. Always you find new things, new ideas, new concepts, things which you have not noticed, which change, and therefore the Torah is constantly new because it's a whole new way of you see new ways of seeing things when you chazer over the Torah. Sometimes some people think that chazering just means that you just revise quickly what you learn. If you revise it and you learn the Torah, when you revise it, learn it like you learned the first time, then it's not just going over old stuff. You actually start noticing new things, and you get a much better understanding of what's going on, and it's almost it's like new. And so therefore also so that when the chazar over the Torah, even though doing chazara, it's beloved like them like the first time. I think maybe I'd like to add here a work which is more based on Chassidus, and that is there is a concept so if one thinks into that, if one thinks into what Torah is about, Torah mitzvahs, what Torah is about, the Torah is about connecting with the Eibishter. So when you have a bit of a feeling for that concept, that when you're learning Torah, you're connecting to the Eibishter. So then whatever if you go over again, you connect. The Eibishter is infinite, and connecting with Hashem there's no getting tired of that. There's no oh, I've done it once before. Connecting with Hashem is such an infinite experience that there is time, or the fact that it's already been done before, it has no relevance. It's always new. That is more of the concept of Chassidus. Okay. Now we have the Gemara continues. The Yalas Chen. So the word is the Yalas Chen. So it says not so. First of all, we mentioned the point that it's Ohu, that those who connect to the Torah, it's beloved like them, like the mate is beloved. The antelope is beloved to its mate. Then also Chen, Shemalas Chen alumdeh. Those who learn Torah, they get Chen, they develop a Chen, and people respect them for it. It affects the person. It gets a different. People look at him differently. So that's the continuation of the pasuk, that the breast will quench your thirst at every time. Why are the words of Torah compared to a breast? Ma dat zeh, that's this breast calls masha tinik mashmish. Every time that when the child um, touches it, fondles it, so it always brings out a bit more milk. It's moitze becholot, so it brings out milk, something which is tasty for the child and which the child enjoys. After the similar that the Torah calls masha adam hoigeba. Every time when a person learns moitze batam, he finds the taste. This is similar to the concept that you mentioned before, that the more you learn, you find more ideas and you notice more things, and so on. So you always find the taste in the Torah. Bahavosa, that's the end of the pasuk. Bahavosa tishke tomid. The love of Torah. Tishke is lashon shgoin. So you go like crazy. So that's the Gemara brings an example. What do you mean you go crazy from the learning? So it says Kemoy Rebbe Lezer ben Pedos, that like Rebbe Lezer, the Omer all over Rebbe Lezer is said about Rebbe Lezer Shal Yeshiv Isik B'Torah V'Shukatachna Shel Tzipori. He was learning Torah in the lower market. I guess there was a higher market than Tzipori, and there was a lower market than Tzipori. So he was sitting in the lower market of Tzipori. Rebbe Sadina in his cloak, Mutal B'Shuka Elen Shel Tzipori. His cloak was in the upper market of Tzipori because of he was so involved in the Torah that. Maybe he started off in the upper market, whatever it was. It ended up that he was without his cloak. His cloak was somewhere in a completely different area, and he was in a different area. Why was that? So it's when he's going without his cloak, how come he went from the higher market to the lower market without the cloak? Because he was so involved in the Torah that he didn't notice what's happening around him. Somebody, there's a cloak. Okay, somebody saw a nice cloak, so he wanted to take it. No owner doesn't seem to be around. Yeah, I want to take it. Motza plays sorov. There was a sorov snake, which is a sorov, which has a poisonous snake, and it was there guarding it. So the snake was guarding it, that nobody should take it. I once read this story. I think it's in the Migdal Oiz. You have that story. Now, the Rebbe in the younger years, before he was Rebbe, so he was he went to the public toilets. So the public toilets, the person would take off his jacket, the upper jacket, whatever it was, and you'd hang it. That was a seder. You would hang it on the wall outside, outside on the wall, and not to go in with it in the Sheratim. The kids said, Alter Rebbe, he didn't realize, and he put his jacket or whatever it was at the top of the beged, he put it on top of the ox. Not realizing that's not the wall. His mind was somewhere else. Yeah. Tana de Rabbanan. The Rabbanan learned. Ma'idach Siv, it says the pasuk, Reichvei Asaynes Tzcheres Yeshvei, those who ride the white. Tzcheres is white, clean white. Asaynes are these donkeys, the type of donkey, mules, whatever. Yeshvei Amidin. This is part of Shiras Dvaira, by the way. Yeshvei Amidin, they sit on the din. The pasuk continues. So the Gemara teaches, who are the ones who ride the donkeys, the mules? These are the Talmidei Chachamim shemahalchim me'ir le'ir, which go from city to city to learn Torah, probably to learn Torah. In other words, they go away from where they live, and they have the goyim kim Torah. They go to different cities in order to have a teacher to see whichever yeshiva they can to learn Torah. I must have skipped that line or something. They go to learn Torah from one city to another country. They go to learn Torah. What does it mean tzchayres? Like clean white. That when the Torah, when they learn the Torah, they learn it that it becomes very clear. They learn it in depth, and when they're done with learning the Torah, everything is very clear and orderly and fitting, etc. Yoshvi al midin. That means Shadon din emes. They pass on the truth din. Shadon din emes lamite. They pass on the truth din. Then he's continuing translating the pasuk. So the pasuk says, so the Gemara is going to divide up that this is all referring to Torah, to learn, those who learn Torah. So the pashtus means like those who they go and travel. So he's going to break up this travel. The Gemara is going to break up this travel to a few stages, to Mikra, Gemara, and Mishnah. Hilche, Elu Bali Mikra. These are the Bali Mikra. Al Derech, Elu Bali Mishnah. Those are the Mishnah. So you go in a path. You go in a path, and that the path of Torah, Mikra. By the way, Halacha is also called Halacha. Means Halacha is from the Hoylech. You're going. It's a path. You're going in a certain way, in that direction, a derech. So therefore, Hoylech is Bali Mikra. That those who learn Gemara, derech. That's Bali Mishnah. Sichai Elu Bali Talmud. That's those who learn Gemara. That they have all the questions, all the answers, and all the reasonings. Shekol Sichasan. That all their talk is the Divrei Torah. Is Divrei Torah. Omar Ashizmi B'Shum Reb Elazar ben Asariah. My Dechsiv, it says Lo Yachrich Remia Tzidoi. That the person who is sly won't roast his catch, the white traps. Tzidoi, white traps. Yachrich is to roast. Remia is slyness. So the one who is sly or full with slyness will not roast his catch. That means he'll get the catch, but won't manage to really benefit from it. He won't live. I'm a trapper. He won't be marich yom. So there's a side. The Pirush over here, the Gemara. Sheshes says, "Sayed haramai yachrich." He dashed the pasuk not in a way of lo yachrich that you won't. He read it in the question. Lo yachrich remiyat tzidai. The person who's sly will not be able to roast his catch. Of course, he'll be able to roast his catch. In other words, that. The pashto way of the pashto way of learning it would be that the side haramai would be referring to learning Torah. That means is that why is it cunning ramai? Why is it ramai? Ramai means because he's fooling himself. So somebody who learns Torah. So he learns Torah and doesn't do Chazorah. So he's tired. He's catching lots of things. He's catching a lot of Torah, but he's not chazing over it. So if he's not chazing over it, so he has no benefit from it. He doesn't really know it, and therefore, so the fitting in with the poshetach would be that the person who doesn't do Chazorah and he's just Ramai, he's just fooling himself. So then he won't be successful in his learning. But Sheshes, he teaches differently. He teaches in the way of a question, and Ramai, he teaches as somebody who's being cunning and smart. In other words, it's somebody who's smart. So then he is smart. He will be able to roast his what he catches. And why is he smart? Because as he will explain in a minute, he's smart because he breaks it down into pieces and makes sure to know each piece one by one. And so he doesn't say, "Oh, I have 10 blat to learn, so therefore he's going to go through the whole 10 blat." No, he's going to go says first go the first 5 lines, make sure he understands that, and the next 5 lines. In the end, because he's a Rama, he's cunning. He does, as will be explained. The Kiosir of Dimi Omar, the Dimi said he's explaining the way of Rav Sheshes. Moshel Tzayed, somebody a trapper should tzotzi for him. It was catching birds. It says catching birds, it traps them. So so if each bird as it catches, he breaks the wings. He breaks the wings, so the birds can't fly away. So therefore he catches so that they stay. So each wing, each piece, the first 5 lines, the first 3 lines of Gemara, or whatever it is, make sure you understand it well. You get it? Okay, that's done. Then you'll be able to retain it. And then so until you get to the 10th blot. Don't try and have it all in one go. Omar Rav Omar Avhuna. My dichsiv. My dichsiv. That's what it says. Hoin mehevel yimat. The kibbutz al yad yarbe. Wealthy by vanity will be diminished, but the one who that's the hoin mehevel yimat. But the kibbutz al yad, the one who gathers by hand, he will be able to gather a lot. So he says, what does that mean? If you make it into small bundles, that means he learns one thing and then he learns another thing. So then mismait. Sorry, adam chavila is. It means he learns in a whole bundle. He learns too many things. So he's trying to learn the whole Amud in one go. He's trying to learn the whole Amud in one go. It's no mismind. He's not able to retain the Amud. He's only to retain a few pieces. The rest of it, the miss out. But if he goes through line by line and each line tries to understand it, so like somebody's gathering, put it in his hand. If it's a whole big bundle, it's too much for you. But so then he'll be and he'll increase his knowledge. So Omar said, Yadi Rabbanah Milsa that the Rabbanim, the people who are learning, they know about it, but they don't follow it so much because they want to learn. They want to learn a lot. They want to gather a lot, and therefore they go too fast, and they don't. And therefore they don't seem to. It's lacking a bit in atzlacha. I know about it. I did it. And so I made sure to learn bit by bit, and then the emes I was more successful, and therefore I knew the learning. Now the Gemara goes, Tan Rabbanan will learn. Kate said, say the Mishnah. How was the Torah would give? How was the Torah given? The learning of the Torah. So it says this: Moshe learned from the Eibishter. Nichnas Aaron, and then after the Eibishter spoke to Moshe, Aaron came. So Moshe would teach to Aaron. Then after Moshe Rabbeinu taught Aaron, Nistalik Aaron, so Aaron went and he moved and he sat next to Moshe, but I sat to the left. He sat to the left of Moshe because when you have Moshe and Aaron, so Moshe is greater, so Moshe is to the right and Aaron is to the left. So then his children came. So his children came in. Moshe is saying over this. Whatever he taught Aaron is saying it over again. So after he teaches his sons of Aaron, Nistalku Bonov. So his sons go, they move, and they move to sit next to Moshe and Aaron. And Nistalku Bonov, Elazar Yeshiv min Moshe, Elazar sits to the right of Moshe, Sommer L'Smoil Aaron, and the Sommer to the left of Aaron. In other words, it's right, and soon we're going to say that then Moshe Rabbeinu again repeated the Torah to the Skenim who came in. We'll get that in a second. That Aaron always sat to the right of Moshe, because that would be because later when you have more people, so Aaron, so it is the Seder is The seder is that if you have three people going, and so the godel is the emtza in the middle, and the second the godel is on the right, and the one after. So therefore, just two of them, so it's correct, and aren't the left. When there's other people, so then, and then somebody else should be to the left of Moshe. The Aaron should get up and go and move and so on. So that's why we had the opinion before. The opinion before was that Aaron, once he's there at the left of Moshe, he stays there, and Elazar sits to the right. Mashenk Rabbi Yehuda, he says that Aaron would always go to the right of Moshe right away. The kids are, so now when the sons are already sitting next to Moshe and Aaron, the sons of Aaron are sitting next to Moshe and Aaron. Nichnasus Canaan, so the Canaan come in, V'shonalem Moshe Pirka, and he teaches. Nistalkus Canaan, then the Canaan come and sit next to Moshe and Aaron. Nichnasu Kol Ha'am, and everybody comes in. All the Yid come in. V'shonalem Moshe Pirka. Nimtza, the Yad Aaron Arba. That means Aaron had heard the shir already 4 times. Yad Banu Shleisha, the sons had so we have a chazar over here. The sons heard it 3 times. Yad Skenim Shnayim, twice. And the rest of the people only heard it once. The kids are, so everybody has heard it from Moshe, and some people have heard it 4 times from Moshe, and some people less. So then Nistalik Moshe, so Moshe goes away, and V'shonalem Aaron Pirka. So Aaron is going to give chazara on the words of Moshe. So that means that all the people who, so that means his sons, the sons of Aaron, have now heard it 4 times. Still now they only heard it 3 times from Moshe. And so now 3 times from Moshe plus 1 from Aaron, they've heard it 4 times. Nistalik B'kitza, they'll say it goes like that. Nistalik Aaron goes away. Shalom and Bonov, Pirkon, so then the sons, they give the share. Nistalik Bonov, and then the sons go away. Shalom and Skenim Pirkon, and the Skenim, they give the share for Klal Yisrael. Nimtza b'yad hakel arba. So the kids, everybody has done chazara, once and 3 times chazara. They've learned 4 times. So everybody has heard the halachas, the Torah 4 times. From here, Rabbi Lezer said, that's the source of Rabbi Lezer, that it says, you have to teach us your Talmud 4 times in order that he should retain it. If Aaron, who learned from Moshe, and Moshe was got it straight from the Eibishter. So nevertheless, so Moshe got straight from the Eibishter, so Aaron had to go over it 4 times. Who's getting it from the first Mekabel from Moshe Rabbeinu himself, when Moshe got it from the Eibishter. So certainly, if it's a regular person, for sure you have to go over it 4 times. You have to teach it 4 times. Rabbi Kiva says, how do you know they have to teach your student until he knows it, until he knows it well, until he knows it. You got to, because you should teach it, they should know it, not just say the share and go by. And how do you know that it should be mesuder and clear and all sorted out, and that it's sorted out by them? It should be similar. It means to put it away neatly. It should be neat. How do you know that you have to be nice to them, to give it and teach them the reasons and to explain them, give an explanation for it? How do you know you have to give an explanation? 1 second. Means you should put in front of them that in a way that they should understand. Nothing more asks. The ligmaru kulam Moshe. So let them all learn from Moshe. Why did let them all come in the first year and hear from Moshe, and let Moshe repeat it 4 times? That means why Aaron first and then the others? What it says, the lach lekoved Aaron, to give respect to Aaron. So Aaron had an individual share from Moshe. Sorry, Aaron the bottom, so Aaron is son. That's why they had individual share from Moshe, and that's why all the rest of the Am Yisrael weren't allowed in at the first few times. Sorry, covered Aaron the Moshe. Sorry, covered Aaron the bottom with covered the skin. So in order to show, to give cover to Aaron, the sons and so on, so therefore they didn't all come in. I'm just thinking it's so important that to give them covered. For that, you have to make a whole thing. This is how. So it's seen apparently. So it seems to me that there's something which has to be entrenched. That is something which is very important. This covered is not something at Aaron. Yes, you have to give him covered. You have to give him the Skanim. You have to give them covered. It's part of the Torah that Skanim, those who are more learned, they have to be given covered. It's not a small thing. They don't allow anybody in, and Moshe speaks to them. The rest can't hear from Moshe. It wouldn't be nice if everybody heard from Moshe. No. There has to be a realization. There has to be a realization that there is a certain hierarchy. Of course, you have to be deserving of that hierarchy. One second. The Gemara says, "Benigmer." The Gemara asks, "Benigmer Moshe." Okay, so you have to give it. So let's. You know what? Why does Moshe have to say it 4 times? Benigmer Moshe, v'la'ay lebon of ligmer Aaron. So let Moshe give the share to Aaron, and you have to give respect to Aaron. So Moshe give only to Aaron. Why make Moshe repeat 4 times? Let the sons be taught from Aaron. Aaron should teach his sons. I look Skanim from the Bono, and the Skanim they should learn from the sons. Aaron shouldn't have to repeat it again. He just teaches his sons, and then it should go away, and then the laser like mirin the and then this and so on. So why do we have to have this? Each one sitting while they're all sitting through a few times. Each one, as one is once Moshe is given the share, he can go home. Once Aaron is given the share, he can go home. So he says, given the Moshe Mipiakvura Gomar, since Moshe he learned from the Eibishter, so when he gives over the Torah, it's completely different Hatzlacha. So he's direct the link from the Eibishter. So therefore, every Yid had to hear from Moshe Rabbeinu. Amar. So we just learned before, Yehuda says, Moshe Chayze. That always the Aaron is always the right of Moshe. So Kamar Azla, so Gemara said, so how will it fit in? Who will be the opinion of the following brisa? How the Tanya went the brisa, Shloish or the 3 people walking away. They walk the traveling 3 people. Harav be'emtza, like we mentioned before. The Rav is in the middle. The God will be the next one the next one in level to the Rav is on the right. The cotton is the cotton is so let's say this is Rabbi Huda and not the Rabbanon. Because Rabbi Huda says Aaron sat by the right. So therefore he's the one that says it's the second in greatness should be by the right. And this doesn't, but the Rabbanon don't hold that. They say that Aaron was sitting the whole time at the left. So the Gemara says, no, it's not. This, even the Rabbanon who say that Aaron sat to the left, they also agree they also agree with this price. Rabbanon should tircha the Aaron, because of the tircha of Aaron, that's why he shouldn't get up, move. So it's more respectful, he should stay where he is rather than move to the right. The Preda, he had this student. He had a student, I guess it was very difficult for him to, the student wasn't a very smart student, it was difficult for the student to catch the kids. The Preda wasn't messiah, and he taught him 400 times till he the Gomar. And after 400 times, the teacher 400 times said it entered his brain and he internalized it. Yom Echad, one day, Bayul the Milsa the Mitzvah. They wanted a pray that they wanted to pray that was need to go for mitzvah. So he had to go somewhere for mitzvah. Okay, so the prayer has to go. Meanwhile, but his prayer is not going to cancel his learning, so he continues learning. Tonale, he taught him 400 times. The loy gomar, and it didn't help. It didn't enter his mind. It didn't. Says, listen, usually I teach you 400 times. What happened today that I've taught you the same amount of times I taught usually, and now you don't get it. Amalei, that he shited the Omer Lamar Ike Milsa the mitzvah. As soon as I heard somebody told the teacher that there's a mitzvah, he has to go. It disturbed my thoughts. And and Steph, I was worried. I mean, every moment. I said, I said, he's going to go away. I'm not going to get it this time because he won't have as much time as usual to stay for the 400 times. I won't get it. The kids are now he's going to go away. So therefore, I was distracted. And therefore, because of distraction, even 400 times didn't help. You know what? Let's start all over again. Have daitach, focus. Right, and I'll teach you. I'll teach you again. Say it, not to worry. Then another 400 times. And then he got it. The kids are not kabaskol, they came out having the voice, so they gave him the choice to pray for the reward for what he did. That not only does he teach you 400 times, after this time that he went for the 800, he says, okay, so the heavenly voice said, should we give you another 400 years to live? Or that you and your generation should be zeicher to the world to come. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer to live many years, or do you want that you and your generation to marry the world to come? So he says, no, what's a shaila, the world to come? So he says, the niskan over there, yeah, I want to be zeicher the world to come. So Baruch Hu said, no, if that's the case, so if that's what he chose, give him both. Give him, you should live in Elam Haza and also 400 years, so he can live for 400 years. And also that him in a generation is like that. Omar Chizar said, Ein Divrei Torah, Niknin, you can't be kind of Divrei Torah, El B'Simonim. You have to make Simonim, like you find the Gemara many times, you have Simonim, like to which that helps to remember. So you have like in the Gemara, you have many times you have a list of words, which that is these words that you remember, like the whole list of all the different dinim which are being mentioned. So you have to make certain simonim to help memory. So ein der Torah is not el simonim. Shema sima b'fiyam. Tikra sima. It says sima b'fiyam. El simona. Pasuk says sima b'fiyam. So it says simon. So it's shomer after chlich marova. So the Khalifa, who was from Eretz, he heard. Also, Amr came to Rabbi, and he told it to Rabbi. Omar, he says, you, you learn it from that pasuk. Anan mehocham asinu. We learn different this pasuk. Atziveloch tziyonim. Tziyonim means simonim. Simeloch. The kids are asu tziyonim l'Torah. Make simonim for the Torah. Tziyon is the simon. As the Gemara says. My mashma the high tzion lishna the simon. How do you know that tzion means simon? It says a pasuk et the adam. At the adam it saw a bone of a person. V'ro etzem adam ubona et tzion ad kovroise, and he made a simon over there till they till they buried him. Rabbi Lezer brings another pasuk for this concept. So to say to Chochma, it's your sister. Moida means you're a friend. Is your bina. So this is, you should be totally involved with Chochma. Chochma is your sister, and bina is your good friend. So the Mordashans, asay medoyim l'Torah, make things which will asay medoyim l'Torah, that make things which will medoyim, like things which will signpost you, signs which will signpost you to what goes next, what other things that you're supposed to know. You have like simonim, which will tell you how to remember, etc. Rava says the same pasuk. Also, same adim l'Torah, make times for the Torah. In other words, have the shir at a set time that people come, they know when to come and they know when it's going to go. Don't just whenever you are able to, then you sit and learn, and people don't know to come, etc. So make it a set time that will bring people to learn the Torah.